Welcome back to a Blue Collar Minute Men show, where we're just a few guys trying to help make this country great again. And guys, we've got Justin with us today. Justin, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Doing good. Hey, we've missed you the last few podcasts, but we know you've been busy, so we understand.
Busy, getting sick, all of that mess, man.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I feel a lot better, man. Apparently the tree pollen count was astronomical last week, and man, it did a Jackie Chan on my sinuses. I ain't even playing.
I will say this, that's the one thing about living in this part of the United States. You know, these whole seasonal things, pollen count gets up, dude, it will absolutely tear you to pieces.
Yeah.
But Bill, how have you been?
And then everybody thinks you got COVID.
Yeah, right. I'm sitting there teaching my classes, and I'm like, they're thinking I'm either a crack addict or I got COVID. So there's no win there.
How are you, Bill?
Pretty good. I got to see a good ball game yesterday. Oh, you came along, got to see that. Had a good time. Good weekend.
It was a good weekend. Went to the UK ball game with Bill, and game actually got close there toward the end. Didn't know if they were going to pull it out or not.
Who'd they play?
Missouri.
Mizzou, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Did they beat Mizzou?
Oh, yeah.
Did not see that coming.
I don't think a lot of people did.
I know I live in Kentucky, and I'm not keeping up with the scores, but I'm an OU fan. Oklahoma.
I got you.
There.
Good thing you're not a Texas fan.
I'm glad they lost.
They got spanked by Arkansas. Welcome to the SEC, Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. Texas didn't have any competition out there.
Yeah, that's our arch rival, and they got beat by Arkansas.
Oh man. But hey, listen, guys, we're glad you're tuning in to watch us. Of course, some of you probably already seen our Thursday show. That was kind of an impromptu show. And today we're starting to show off with talking a little bit about 9/11. Have a show for 9/11, but you know, we're gonna still honor that and just say a few words, you know, about 9/11. Bill, you want to take it first?
Well, 20 years, it seems like yesterday. I can vividly remember, you know, everything that was going on. It was devastating. I mean, at first, I know everyone thought maybe it was just a plane crash, an accident. And then when the second one hit and it became apparent what was going on, it was just, I mean, it was totally devastating. And what I can't wrap my head around now is 20 years later, we went to war over this, and 20 years later, we turned around and gave that country back to some of the same people that did what they did. I don't get it.
Well, a lot of us don't.
Pretty much tells you exactly what you need to know about the administration, current administration.
Justin, what about you, man?
I remember that day, like Bill said, like it was yesterday. I'm 40 now, and I was 20 years old, fairly brand new in the Air Force then. This is before I went to the Army. I can get into that story later, how I went from Air Force to Army. I was on an honor guard. I was on the Barksdale Air Force Base honor guard. We were going to do a funeral. Had about, I want to say about 8 to 10 people with me. I was the detail commander that day. So they sent us off, and we were driving about an hour from the base. heading to our location. And next thing I know, I hear some stuff going on the radio that we were listening to. And then all of a sudden I get the phone call from our flight chief for the honor guard. And he's like, Sergeant Yaza, you're ordered to turn around, come straight back to base, no questions. Get back here now. Yes, sir. We turned that van around. We were like, what the hell is going on? And then we started picking some more things on the radio saying that there's been some sort of explosion down in New York at the World Trade Center, blah, blah, blah. And we were starting to piece things together. Well, as soon as we get back, they were like, they didn't even form us up, put us in formation or nothing. They just said, get to your units now. And we ran, reported back into our units, man. We were still trying to figure out what was going on. Then our commander come out, talked to each of the squadrons. Well, our squadron commander came down, talked to each of the flights and was like, yeah, man, there was a terrorist attack in New York. We are in death condition. What was it? I can't remember if it was the highest or second highest level we had been in since, really, since I was ever in the military. So, man, it was pretty scary, man. We had crews running out to the B-52s, man, on the flight line, powering them up, ready to just sitting there waiting, ready to go. And then pretty much later on, the next few days, try and get a hold of a couple of my friends, and we can't get a hold of them. Turned out that they were told to report in, and they got flown to their deployment with some aircraft, some of our B-52s. I won't go into where we were at, OPSEC, even though it was 20 years ago. But man, they got deployed, and I didn't see them for another 6 months. And we waited around, and everybody was getting organized. And for the next few months, man, we were just like, all right, is it our turn to go? What's going on? So, man, you want to talk about a complete life-changing experience, something that hit me at a personal level, but man, you grow up through it throughout your whole adult life. I was at the beginning of my adult life then. And here I am 20 years later, 40 years old, out of the military now, kids and moving, and found a new career that I absolutely love to do. Changed everything, world changer. And we witnessed it. So 6 years later, after that, I joined the Army and decided to take the fight to them. And that's what I did.
Right. Got you. Well, I'll just say, I was working in a factory at that time. And like you said, that's one of those things you never forget. Of course, I'm a little older than you are, Justin, but I remember watching the TV when the Challenger exploded.
Yeah, I remember that. I was little.
I mean, I kind of had the same feeling, although being an adult, when the towers were hit, the feeling was more of like, okay, what are we doing? Like, who's going after this? Because this is obviously an attack. But that initial, like Bill said, first plane hit, they thought it was an accident, but then here comes the second plane. And I was watching the news as the second plane came in. And when I saw it, my mind already knew like this was deliberate, so
yep.
I just that feeling of basically it's like you kind of get blindsided and you're looking for, all right, well, who was it that hit me? And that was kind of the thought that was going through my mind was, okay, who was it? Who's going after it? What do we know? And that type of situation. But I'm going to mention this too. Because of the tragedy of 9/11, this country had never been unified like it was during that.
Yeah, it reminded me of the old World War II era after we were bombed by Pearl Harbor. It reawakened that. Actually, World War II is how it started with our national pride.
Yeah.
That's why they were the greatest generation. Everybody put down their tools and just said, you know what? You don't gonna come to our house and start screwing with us.
Right.
And we all banded together. Yeah, there was a lot of things going on, racism, all this stuff. But man, I won't say that there's a war is ever a great thing, but you know what? The good Lord can take the worst tragedies and make something good out of it. And if it hadn't been for some of those things, I don't think we would have evolved as a society out of it.
Right.
Like getting rid of that whole mindset of our differences and who's inferior, who isn't. Yeah, we still got lingering idiots out there. Well, we're always going to have those type of morons. Liberals. But I know exactly what you mean, man, because like that was the youngest first tragedy I remember in my young life was Challenger. And then when I was in middle school, the Oklahoma City bombing, I was only about 15 miles away from that, and sitting in middle school, man, that was life-changing. And then this horrible, catastrophic event happening on U.S. soil.
Yep.
Man, we need to gain some of that pride back, that unity. Stop all this division and bickering over dumb shit.
Exactly.
Stop trying to tell other people. They tell the right. They say the right is always telling other people how to live. Blah blah blah. You're telling me what I got to do before I can even go into a grocery store? I have to wear a mask or get a vaccine. There's only two things that I have to do in this world, and that's stay brown and die.
Right. Well, you brought up a good point though about the whole mask thing. Bill, I think you found something out about what you wanted to tell the people.
Well, if you ever go buy a box of those masks, the ones that they hand out at Walmart, the ones that everybody's wearing, those little paper masks, it tells you on the box, there's a big warning that says, warning, this mask does not protect you from viruses. Okay. Well, somebody actually took a picture of that and put it on Facebook. Of course, as soon as it gets there, the fact checkers are going to tear it apart.
Yeah.
Well, the fact checkers didn't deny that the warning is real. They didn't deny that the masks don't work. They just said it doesn't matter. You need to wear one anyway to protect other people. Okay.
Yeah.
You got something there that says
I'm gonna wear a helmet so you guys don't get a concussion.
Yeah, I mean, but it says it doesn't work, but you're gonna wear it anyway.
Well, it's like, well, when Bill and I were away training, there was a guy riding a motorcycle with a mask on.
Yeah.
Didn't have it on.
By himself on a motorcycle.
I'd like to think it was to keep him from like eating bugs while he's riding, but man, was he wearing flip-flops and
no helmet, but he had a mask on.
Yeah.
No, see, there's priorities there.
The logic that people come up with for this whole thing is just astounds me.
Helmets make sense. I get it.
But I'm going to wear a mask while I'm riding a motorcycle by myself. Forget the helmet.
I'm more likely to die from a motorcycle accident than I am COVID.
Well, let me ask you a question, Elgin.
Yo.
You were there. You witnessed it. This second time in 2-week period, and I've been there, but there was 56,000 people last night. How many masks did you see?
Only on the people working in the
concession stand?
Concession stands. That's it.
Okay. They're allowing us to do that. So why? And that's good 5 hours we're in there.
Mm-hmm.
Why does the kids still have to wear masks in school? If we can put 56,000 people together for an athletic event, and there's no spacing of the seats, you're sitting shoulder to shoulder. But that's okay. I don't know.
Does that make sense, Justin?
No,
It's money.
no.
They already sold all the tickets to these sporting events, and they'll be damned if they're going to refund them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about money.
Well, just think about it. Like you said, the person who, let's just take the NCAA as a broad. The NCAA as a broad is a giant entity, corporate entity that's making money.
Mm-hmm.
And if Biden and his wild ideas, affect their income, then they're going to be like, look, if you want our backing and our money, you're going to have to keep our money flowing in to let us do these games.
Yeah.
It's all about the green. It's all about the greenbacks, baby.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at communism compared to capitalism, I love capitalism. I'm not going to lie. You get what you put in, the work you do, you reap from it. I like that idea. But man, when it comes to that whole love of money thing, that's where we fall short.
Right.
So, but man, I'd rather much have it, whatever I put into this world, what I get out of it, not depending on someone else.
Exactly. And, on the high school level, there's no money to be made on the high school level. So, yeah, they want your kids to wear masks and they want you all to be masked up. But as long as you're handing out that money,
Mm-hmm.
come, we'll let you not wear a mask for that.
Yep.
It's like I said Thursday, y'all can't keep us stupid.
Yeah. Apparently some people can.
Yeah. They're trying awful hard.
Oh, geez. Well, like I said, this show today don't really have a whole lot. We can went over a few things from Biden's speech. I can't remember if there was anything else that we might have missed on his speech.
Oh Lord, I think you covered most of it that night.
Oh no,
I had to keep turning him down because he was blowing our daggone decibel meter up. I mean, he was screaming. He was hot.
I was heated, Justin. I couldn't help it, man. It made me so mad. I mean, look, get this. The arrogant SOB was so arrogant, he made the statement that everybody in government and the executive branch was wearing a mask. And then he made the statement that teachers on the federal level that are teaching these schools, like military schools, I don't know what it's called now, but, NC to go to your next rank, all these schools made to take the vaccine. And then he makes the comment, I can do that because I have that authority.
Starting to sound like a dictator to me.
He's trying. He's trying.
I mean,
who is it? Who is this clown think he is?
And that actually brought me up a thought, Justin, and I know you'll agree with me on this. Let's face it, we're all alphas here.
Yeah.
Alphas carry themselves differently. And Joe Biden reminds me of the little guy in school who finally gets some power. And he's like, yeah, now you got to listen to me. Yeah, because I got
the hall monitor.
Yes. Like, I got power. You ain't going over there.
And then he's trying to turn everybody else into snitches.
Yes.
Tell us report who's not wearing a mask.
Yes.
I'm reading a book right now, man, and I should have been reading it a long time ago, and I've actually mentioned it a few times, but I bought it the other day, about a week ago, and I've been reading up on it about halfway through. George Orwell's 1984.
Yeah.
You want to know where this society is going? Read this freaking book. George
Exactly.
Orwell was the reason why they came up with the term Big Brother.
Yep.
It's here. Self-fulfilling prophecy from an old English guy wrote that book in 1949. It is mind-blowing to see how close we are to that.
Wow.
I actually found it on audiobook, and I downloaded it, and I've been meaning to listen to it, but I haven't had time. But because of things kind of changing, I'll probably get time to listen to it. So yeah, I'm actually gonna try to listen to the audio version, Justin.
Yeah, man, I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm not much of a reader, never really have been. I don't have the attention span for it, but I will tell you this: I've been locked into this book pretty well. Shutting off my TVs when I come home and just sitting here reading. It's actually kind of therapeutic. I kind of like it.
That way you can kind of relax and just be focused on, something that you're interested in. I get it.
Yeah, now I know what those people talk about, those literary types, or go home and get lost in a good book. Okay, yeah, I get it now. All right.
Well, speaking of something good and some good information, I want to hit you guys with this too. Of course, Justin, you watched a little video clip I shared with you, but something I want to bring the people up to speed with too. What I'm about to tell you is this is the whole reason why we fight so hard for this country and why the founding fathers of this country were right. Most of you all know who Ben Shapiro is, and he did a spot for PragerU. And I'm not going to go over everything he said. Bill's going to put a link in the description box on this video. That way it'll link you to the video I'm referring to. But Ben Shapiro, smart guy. We'll all agree that. He basically said, why is it that Western civilization, meaning the United States, why does it work? And it boils down to two things, he said. It boils down to Athens and Jerusalem. And what he's meaning by that is that Athens, Greece, was the center of logic and scientific exploration. Jerusalem was the beginning of the Judeo-Christian values, okay? The United States and the founding fathers, when they, got their independence from Great Britain and they developed the Constitution and everything that we have, they took what we know about Athens, the logic aspect, and the Judeo-Christian values about God, and they implemented both of those into what makes up this country. And if you watch the link that Bill says, Ben goes on to explain that the balance between the two is why this country has lasted. And Bill, you mentioned that usually throughout history, all great empires fail after about 200 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we're still going as of right now. For now, we're at 234 years or something like.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
If something doesn't change, if something doesn't change, we're not going to make 240.
Right.
I agree there, but I will say this. I mean, we are, if I'm not mistaken, we are the American Republic is the longest running form of government ever throughout history.
Yes.
Something should be said about that.
Yeah, it really should. And Ben also explains, he said, and this is the example I'm going to use is what he used. When you don't have that balance between logic and religion, right. If you have too much of one or the other, you fall into chaos. An example, look through history from 700 to 1300, the Muslim faith used to be at the height. It was at the height of technology and religion because they embraced both. But afterwards, they rejected logic and they relied more on faith. And now look at where most of the Muslim world is. They're in chaos. There's an example for it. So Bill will put that link in there. I found it interesting, and it gives you something, the people out there, as to know why this country does work. And
or why Western civilized countries work.
Right. And he said that if mother countries are not following that, they're trying to be like us. So just look at what people are trying to do now. They're taking religion out of everything. You know, Christians are now being persecuted for their faith again. So we're spiraling down. We got to have that balance. I just thought that was a good read and a good subject to go over.
It was really interesting how he laid it out and talked about how Western civilizations have prospered,
right,
so to speak. And yeah, I mean, like you said, and like he said, it takes that balance. And then he's like, on one side, you had the Muslims, which rejected the scientific logic and technology, crumbled, went into chaos. And then you have those countries that rely all on technology and nihilism that are stuck in chaos as well.
Right. You wind up with communism and socialism, and
there's no moral law. That's
right.
That's what people fail to realize is morals. Where did our morals come from? You got idiots that can't even turn their turn signal on changing lanes. You want them deciding what morality should or should not be? No.
Hey, Justin, you got some of them that decided they're a giraffe today. So, I mean.
Yeah, I know, right? I declare myself to be an Apache helicopter.
So, I mean, that's where we're. It doesn't take a lot of brain power to figure out, you know, they're trying to make this country into a third world country.
Well, I mean, it's everything from, you know, it's not just, you got to look at the little things they're doing too. For an example, you can't say certain words now because you'll offend somebody.
Right. Like he.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So, I mean, it's getting ridiculous.
When did sticks and stones become any less relevant?
Let me ask you this question, Justin.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, they took they're going around changing all these professional athlete or sports teams' names, right? Because they had, you know, Indian names. Well, let's look at the government. You just mentioned something a while ago. What did you identify as?
An Apache helicopter.
Right. Well, helicopter. We name all of our helicopters, though. I mean, is that offensive?
The Kiowa, the Comanche, Chinook.
Yeah, all of our helicopters have names of Native American tribes.
I will tell you this: before I went to the Army, I was a B-52 crew chief, a dedicated crew chief. I had my name on the side of 2 aircraft. One was aircraft 1036, and me and I was an assistant ADCC at the time. He was the lead. Well, his name was Jay Charbonneau. I'll never forget that clown. It's funny. Oh, diehard Democrat, but hey, I love him anyways. He's a good guy. But yeah, man, he was actually part Pawnee from the Pawnee tribe, and I'm Comanche and Navajo. We came up with the nose art design. Actually, let me see if I've got it right here.
Oh, I remember Justin telling me about this too.
Let's see. Let me flip this camera around real quick. It's on my desk here. Sorry, my desk is messy. Immortal Soul. I'm the one that designed that headdress and that skull. There's the aircraft. That used to be painted on the side of our aircraft. Well,
awesome.
I had a friend of mine, Sergeant Lance Ott. He's the one that drew it up. He was the artist, because me and Jay couldn't draw for shit. But we had that put on our aircraft. Well, I get out of the Air Force in 2000. January 2006, I get a phone call a couple of years later saying that some asshole that's offensive to the Native American heritage. And everybody that still stayed in my unit was like, hey, the guys that designed that are Native American. Well, I'm 1/17th Cherokee and I know better. I'm like, so I got a phone call from the Air Force Times about it. And one of the public relations officers at Barksdale. Yeah, I was pretty pissed. And I was like, yes, I'm on a tribal roll. I have a tribal roll number. I'm Comanche and Navajo. I was like, what's this clown talking about? Well, he talks about how it's disrespecting his family line and all this other bullshit. So yeah, they ended up taking it off because of that. And I was pissed. Now, when it comes to these sports teams, I've talked to my family members. I've got cousins and my dad and uncles and stuff still live on the reservation out there in New Mexico, outside of Gallup. Most of us don't give a damn what anybody calls their sports teams. There are bigger things for the Native American people to be worried about. One, slipping back into solid government control.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me all the time, like, do you find the Cleveland Indians mascot offensive? I'm like, well, he kind of looks like an idiot, but I wouldn't call it offensive. I mean, it's just a stupid ass cartoon drawn up from back then.
Right.
And I was like, I could care less. I'll tell you what does offend me: child trafficking, human trafficking, exploitation of others. That's what bothers me. I could give a crap less of what some sports team calls their cricket bat or whatever. I don't care.
Right.
So, man, we need to reevaluate what really is offensive.
Yeah. And Justin, I think you and I have had this conversation before. You know, I've told you about how my brother says, oh, well, you just ain't even thinking about the Native American people. I'm like, my friend Justin is Native American. He would tell me if, you know, and my brother's always, you know, this land was theirs before it was ours. I'm like, yeah, I know that. I do know that.
No one's disagreeing with that.
But you know what's kind of funny? Because he and I argue all the time. If this land, of course, was you all's before Americans got here, then why is he still wanting his 40 acres and a mule that he was promised? Because shouldn't that technically go back to you then?
You know what? Tell him I'll cut him a deal. I keep the mule. He can have the 40 acres.
My brother's always going on about, I need my 40 acres and a mule. Well, you just told me that this land belongs to the Native Americans. Can you give your 40 acres back?
40 acres and a mule. How about a pig and 20 acres? Mules are expensive.
I don't know that he pork.
Poor Carl.
Oh, Carl.
Oh, God.
We love Carl. We still love Carl.
Where are we at on?
We're at 30.
Okay. Well, like I said, this was a good show. We wanted to say something about 9/11 and just throw out some more stuff. As always, you know, guys, ladies and gentlemen, look, we say it all the time. Look up your information.
Yeah.
Even with us, look it up. We usually try to reference where we're getting our information from, sources we're looking at, and then you can do the same. You can follow us up and check behind us. You know, we don't have a problem with that. Like I said before, we're not making any money with this. We're just trying to give you all a different perspective, a different outlook, you know, from what we see.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something else that more, especially minorities that are conservatives, need to speak up, man. I'm not afraid to say something in front that might be that some of my own family or might disagree with. You know what? I've got just as much right to voice my opinion as that celebrity does.
Yep, exactly. Bill, any last words?
Well, let me see here.
Bill loves gathering info.
Here's just one thing I wanted to bring out that we didn't touch on the other day when we were doing the show Thursday. I'm sure everyone's heard of the Nuremberg codes.
The Nuremberg
after World
trials.
War II, where they had trials, and all the free countries came up with a set of codes that they all signed and agreed with to make it law for the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the number one thing in the Nuremberg codes was there must be voluntary consent of any human subject before any medical treatment shall be given.
Oh, Bill, could you tell us how those codes come into being?
Well, I would say a certain doctor named Mengele, Joseph, they were coercing people. They were just holding them down, giving them injections, studying, testing, doing human trials. They did away with that. It was so atrocious. And it wasn't just Republicans that did that. It wasn't just Democrats. It was both parties signed this agreement. It was ratified, signed, agreed upon by all the countries that they could not force you to do any medical treatment without your consent. Now, are we just abandoning all of our laws? I'm sure Justin will say, yeah, the government does that all the time, looking at the treaties they've made with the Native Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your government, people. That's what they're supposed to be following right now.
Yeah. I love how kind of just skim over that and overlook it. I was kind of looking at something earlier where if you watch it now, the big thing is that nobody's really caring about what's going on in Afghanistan anymore. That seems to be kind of leaving the news.
That was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We got more important things.
Yeah, because Biden understands the struggle of the vaccinated people.
Please.
God.
That guy can't even figure out why his oatmeal is cold when it gets served to him.
Oh gosh, Justin, any final words?
No, not really today. Ignore that name in the corner. I tried changing it 3 times. I don't know how that got mixed up there, but
Don't worry about it.
yeah, sorry, put your name out there like that. My bad, I didn't catch it. But anyways, final. I'm going to have to find this quote, but I want to say it was Thomas Jefferson, but I'm probably wrong. Please fact check it. Or Ben Franklin, one of the founding fathers, who knows, but I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he said something that will always stick with me, or whoever this person was. He said that if you give up security, or you give up, freedom for security, you deserve neither.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with that.
Exactly.
I'll never tell anybody not to wear a mask or wear a mask. Hey, it's your choice. You do what you do. Do what you do. Now, until your life starts interfering with what I've got going on, I'm not going to say nothing. It's your business. Parents, if you want to vaccinate your kids, do it. I just support the freedom to make that choice.
Yep. Exactly. Well said, Justin. Well, like we said, ladies and gentlemen, look your information up, and you're right to be able to say, I want to eat a steak and I don't want to eat fish, are the freedoms that you have. If you really want the government in control of everything, you can go back to food lines and standing there getting your food rations and picking what they give you. But hey, that's on you. But like I said, here at the Blue Collar Minutemen, we're always going to be trying to get the word out, always trying to feed you the good information that you need to know, and making sure that it's your decision as to whether you want to do it or not. But with all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. As always, you can email us at bluecollarminutemen.com at protonmail or bluecollarminutemen at protonmail.com. I was getting the website confused. And our website is bluecollarminutemen.com. You can find us on BitChute, Rumble. We're actually still on YouTube right now. And our social media, you can find us on MeWe and Spreely. And we're on Facebook, but we can't. If you're someone new, it'll be hard for you to find us because they've limited us on Facebook.
BCMM.
BCMM on Facebook. So DuckDuckGo is a search engine. That's a good search engine. Make sure you find the correct information that you want. You don't have to search through pages and pages of Google BS to find what you need. So, but with all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you all continue to have a good weekend. And God bless you all, and God bless America. We're out.